Welcome to episode 5 of modules 3 and 4, Biological Diversity and Ecosystem Dynamics. This is our last in the series of part 1, Ecosystems. Our syllabus reference for this video will investigate the changes in past ecosystems and how they may inform our approach to the management of future ecosystems, including the role of human-induced selection pressures, models that can be used to predict future impacts on biodiversity, and the role of changing climate on ecosystems. We'll also investigate practices used to restore damaged ecosystems, including mining sites and land degradation from agricultural practices. Our learning intentions for this video: explain the impact that human-induced selection pressures have had on the extinction of a species, outline models that humans can use to predict future impacts on biodiversity, outline the role of changing climate on ecosystems, explain how practices in mining and land degradation in agriculture are being used to restore damaged ecosystems. First, let's look at human-induced selection pressures. Human-induced selection pressures are factors caused by human activity that affect survival and reproduction. These include habitat destruction, overhunting and overfishing, the introduction of invasive species, and pollution. All of these reduce biodiversity and can increase extinction rates. The thylacine is an example of human-induced selection pressure. It was heavily hunted because it was seen as a threat to livestock. Combined with habitat loss, this led to its extinction, showing how human actions can rapidly remove species from ecosystems. How can we use models to predict the future impacts on our ecosystems? Scientists use models to predict future impacts on biodiversity. These models use current and past data to simulate how ecosystems might respond to changes such as habitat loss, climate change, or conservation efforts. The population viability analysis, PVA, is a mathematical model that predicts the likelihood a species will survive or go extinct. It uses data such as birth and death rates, population size, and environmental threats. For example, the PVA is being used to predict the extinction risk of the Tasmanian devil due to devil facial tumour disease. The model shows a high risk of population collapse without intervention. This has resulted in conservation biologists developing captive breeding programs and isolating disease-free populations. Climate envelope models use computer simulations to predict where a species can live now and in the future based on climate conditions, species occurrence, and future climate scenarios. The max-ent simulation is being used for koalas to predict habitat loss in northern Australia. It shows suitable habitats shifting south due to rising temperatures and is used to plan wildlife corridors and protected areas. How is climate change having an impact on the future of our ecosystems? Climate change plays a major role in altering ecosystems. Rising temperatures, changes in rainfall, and more frequent extreme weather events can disrupt food chains, habitats, and breeding patterns, leading to species decline or migration. While ecosystems are generally very resilient, the issue with climate change is that multiple changes are being imposed on ecosystems at the same time, putting greater stress on their resilience. Human-induced impacts, such as burning fossil fuels, deforestation, agricultural and livestock, are also increasing the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which are playing a role in the climate change pattern. Rising temperatures, increase heat stress in plants and animals, disrupt reproduction and growth, and force species to migrate to cooler areas. Ocean warming reduces oxygen levels and disrupts marine food webs and can lead to coral bleaching. The Great Barrier Reef has seen an increase in sea temperatures, causing coral to expel a type of algae called zooxanthellae. Corals have a symbiotic relation with this algae. The increase in this algae expulsion leads to coral bleaching. Over time, coral bleaching results in coral death. There have been 5 mass bleaching events of the Great Barrier Reef that has resulted in reduced coral cover and the loss of habitat for reef fish and invertebrates. And lastly, let's look at how we can restore damaged ecosystems. Human activities such as mining and agriculture have significantly damaged ecosystems across Australia. These activities can remove vegetation, degrade soil, disrupt water systems, and reduce biodiversity. To address this, scientists, governments, and local communities use a range of restoration practices to rehabilitate damaged ecosystems and restore ecosystem function. Mining causes severe ecosystem disturbance by removing topsoil and native vegetation, destroying habitats, altering landforms and drainage patterns, and contaminating soil and water with chemicals. However, after mining operations end, the land is reshaped to resemble natural landforms, topsoil that has been removed is stored and replaced, and native plants are replanted and restored sites are monitored over many years. Agricultural practices can damage ecosystems through overgrazing, land clearing, excessive fertiliser use, and irrigation causing salinity. Restoration practices to improve land degradation include a reduction in overgrazing by rotating grazing and reducing stock rates. This allows vegetation to recover and improve soil health. Replant native vegetation. Soil rehabilitation by adding organic matter, using cover crops and reducing tillage. This helps to improve soil structure, water retention, and nutrient cycling. And that is the end of episode 5. Thank you for watching.